This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, November 29th. Please stand for our invocation, led by Reverend Clinton L. Johnson, New Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good morning. Let us pray. Our Father, we thank you for the glorious beauty of this day, for the opportunity that you have given us to be participants and partakers thereof. We pray that you guide us through the experience of this day, and that this day would be an opportunity for us to bless others like never before, to do something we've never done, to say something we've never said, to go to a place that we've never been, to take full advantage of the opportunity we have been given to occupy positions of leadership, not for self-aggrandizement or exaltation, but the express purpose of service, that our lives spent on this earth and the things that we do are engaged to bring about a tremendous difference in the lives of people whose lives would not have been perhaps as better as they could be had we not passed their way. We pray your immense blessings upon this august body of the City Council, upon the mayor, that you endow them and saturate them with the abundancy of your wisdom, that they may make decisions that are meaningful and purposeful in guiding this city to an enhanced direction of growth, enrichment, and development, and that all of the people in every represented community is impacted positively. Bless now as only you can, and we shall always be mindful in all things to give you the honor, the glory, and the praise. In the name of our Lord, we pray. Amen.
I'm going to ask everyone to please remain standing. One of our colleagues, Councilman Gene Reynolds, has lost his grandmother on yesterday. Councilman Reynolds can give us the name of his grandmother in the service time, and then we'll have a moment of silence for your family.
82 great years, and I'm thankful for all that I have to say. Thank you.
Bow our heads.
Roll call, President Small.
Here.
Vice President Gregory. Councilmember Penn.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll. Councilmember Reynolds. Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Jones. Statement of rules.
And good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's good to see everyone this morning. Welcome to our meeting. At this meeting, we do have rules. At this time, I ask if anyone have any type of electronic device, including cell phones, please at this time put on the off or the vibrator position. The off or the vibrator position. Any person desiring to address the council must sign in indicating the resolution, ordinance, appeal, or public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. When addressing the council, the speaker must state his or her name and address. Any person desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must sign in into the city clerk's office the Thursday prior to the council meeting. The subject that he or she wishes to express to the council must be identified and pertain to the city of Mobile business. Any person who has not given proper notice to the city clerk's office and wishes to speak on a non-agenda item would not be allowed to address the council. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 2 minutes. 1 minute remains for summarizing. The second bell indicates the time has expired. When addressing the council, there is to be no personal address to any individual council members. All statements are to be made to the chair, who will recognize any council member who wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, there would be no undue applause and a public outcry allowed. Madam City Clerk.
Communications from the mayor.
Good morning. It's good to see everybody here today. I want to have three announcements and a couple of, one proclamation, and then we have two employees of the month, so I'll try to be quick with it. But I want to point out that the Mobile Parks and Recreation Department is going to have another Roll Mobile in Bienville Square this Saturday, December 3rd. It's from 6 to 10 p.m. We ask all skaters that want to participate, please show up in your favorite Christmas holiday costume. Again, this Saturday from 6 to 9, Bienville Square, Roll Mobile. We're also hosting the holiday Sip and Paint at Mardi Gras Park. That's where the Parks and Rec Department are hosting an event. It also is from 6 to 9, but it's Friday, December 2nd, and you have to be age 21 and over to participate. The tickets are $25 a person, and for the $25, we give you a canvas, and we do have a few tickets left. So hope that you'll join us at Sip and Paint at Mardi Gras Park. Can we have them sit down? Yeah. Thank you. I'm sorry. The last announcement has to do with the Mobile Museum of Art. We'll be hosting a holiday market and open house December 3rd from 2 to 5 p.m. There will be free museum admission all day, an artisan market, food trucks, live music, and activities, and more. Vendors will be offering a variety of handmade items such as jewelry, pottery, self-care products, and more. There will be live music and tasty treats, Frios, and the little donut factory. Hope that you can be there. So my first, the proclamation for today is Giving Tuesday. And so I would ask Sandra Dunaway, Stephanie Williford, and Katrina Durrell to please come to the podium. The proclamation reads, whereas Giving Tuesday was established as a national day of giving on the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, and whereas Giving Tuesday is a celebration of philanthropy and volunteerism where people give what they are able, and whereas Giving Tuesday is a day where citizens work together to share commitments, rally for favorite causes, and build stronger community, and whereas it is fitting and proper on Giving Tuesday and on every other day to recognize the tremendous impact of philanthropy, volunteerism, and community service in the city of Mobile, and whereas Giving Tuesday is an opportunity to encourage citizens to serve others throughout the holiday season and during all times of the year. Now, therefore, I, William S. Stimson, the 108th Mayor of the City of Mobile, do hereby proclaim November 29th, 2022, as Giving Tuesday in the City of Mobile and encourage all citizens to join together to give back to the community in any way that they find personally meaningful. Congratulations, and thank you all for your service.
Good morning, Mr. President and Council. It's a real pleasure to be here again today. This is probably the second time in 2 months that I've had this opportunity. Catching up, I have a long way to go. Today, I wanted to introduce to you our Employee of the Month from Project Financing. Her name is Brenda Rhodes. I've known Brenda now for about a year. Not much less time than I've been here in the city, but she's been here a lot longer than I have. She's been here 20 years. She worked over in architectural engineering for a long, long time. I'm going to let Brenda talk a lot about her detail, but I just want to say that, you know, a more pleasant person couldn't be found. A more hardworking person couldn't be found. She's got a great personality most of the time, and we all seem to get along real well. So I'm going to turn it over to Raya now, and she'll make the presentation for Brenda.
Good morning.
Morning.
It's my pleasure to introduce Brenda Rhodes. Brenda has been with the City of Mobile for over 21 years, as Bob said. 20 of those years she served in the AE department. In 2021, Brenda started working with me. I stole her. She was promoted to a fiscal officer, too, at that time. Brenda's a jewel to supervise. After hiring her and sending a notification to the employee to the other departments telling her she was in my department, I received congratulatory emails. People telling me how blessed I was to have Brenda as a part of the capital team. I was happy to get these messages, but it just further confirmed that I made the right choice. I knew that because when Brenda worked in the AE department, the contracts and the change orders that she did, they came to me. So I was already aware of her work ethic. Brenda's a great person to work with. She always has a smile. A couple of months ago, we had an incident where one of the department needed a little extra assistance. She volunteered. It was outside of her area. And those are the type of things Brenda does. And she does it all the time. These are only a few of the reasons that I nominated her as our October 22 Employee of the Month.
Well, I told Ray I was not going to speak. Was not intending to share it in the tears either. Thank you so much for those one words. But this would not be possible if it's not for the finance team. So I accept this award on behalf of the finance administration. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Ms. Gregory.
While y'all are taking those pictures, since I have been here a long time, Brenda, I have seen your name on many a contract come through, bid documents come through, and I know of your good work. And I know you are thanking, Aurelia is thanking you for working for her, but I know it's kind of the same for you working with Aurelia, because what a great boss to have. So congratulations to you and to Ms. Mallory for such a great job. Thank you for being here today, and congratulations. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to pick it back behind Ms. Gregory and also Mr. Holt and Raya, that every time you see Brenda, I mean, she always have a beautiful personality and always smiling. At the world, we have more people in the world like you, it'd be a better place to live. Thank you so much for your services to the City of Mobile.
And Mr. President, before we go too far, I know Reverend Johnson did our prayer today, and we thank you for being here to pray over us, Pastor, and just a big thank you and hello. Greetings to you, of course. Clint served on the council for many, many years, and I was proud to have served with him for a portion of that time. So thank you for being here and for offering the prayer for us. Always appreciate it.
Mr. President.
Mr. Days.
I also would like to say how happy I am to see Reverend Johnson here today. Every day that goes by in this job, I appreciate more and more your many years of service.
All right. That's it from the administration. Madam Clerk.
Monthly finance report.
Okay, once again, good morning. It's been a while since we gave a finance report. The last one we gave was August, and as you know, we're always running a little bit slow on September because of all the closings we have to do during the month of October and the reconciliations in early November. But anyway, we have September now, and I wanted to go over that with you just to kind of bring you up to speed with how the year ended up. It's interesting that on sales tax revenue, which I usually talk about, we ended up the month at $16.4 million. That was better than budget by about 3.9. The interesting thing, though, is that compared to last year, it's only about $393,000 $393,000 better than what it was last year. So we're not seeing some of the big increases that we saw from year over year from last year and the year before. Year to date, we had 196 million, and against a budget of 175. So still came in $20 million ahead of budget, and about a little less than that compared to what we would have done last year. Overall revenues for the month, 23.7 million compared to a budget of 19. So we're about 4.7 million better than planned. And year to date, well, for the whole year, 313,244,000 against a plan of 280,397. So beat the plan by 32.8 million. Again, a similar trend. We're only we're looking at a smaller increase between this year and last year and the year before, as tax revenues tend to sort of level out from what they have been doing over the last 2 years. Costs were pretty much as expected. We did better than planned. Overall, our costs for the year were $234 million versus a budget of $246 million. So we beat our plan by about 11 million. And again, the same sort of thing with the costs. Last year, our costs for, say, public safety was 91. This year it was 98. Each year it went up a little bit. This year Public Works was about $3 million more than the previous year at 56 million. And admin services was 11 million versus 9 million last year. So costs are going up, and that's something we've been talking about all year long, about how expenses have been rising with inflation, and so also has employee expenses. As far as the balance sheet goes, just the general fund, at the beginning of the month, for March, we had a surplus of 133 million. At the end of the month, we had a surplus of 122. So we dropped about 10 million. Now, that's not it is not something we're happy with, but it's something that's typical of the month of September, where we bring a lot of expenses that typically would be put in October. We bring them back to September when they were actually incurred. So it's just an annual year-to-year reconciliation. I have October, but I'm not going to talk about October, but we've started to recover already in October from that loss. And this is not too much different from where we were last year. So if you want to look at the surplus, we started the month, September, 133 million. We lost 10.8. We ended up at 122. And if you take out the 47 million that we like to set aside for a rainy day, we have a usable surplus of about $75 million at the end of September. So that's where we are on the financials. Any questions on that right now?
Council?
Mr. President, no real questions, Mr. Holt. Thank you very much for that very informative report. I've been concerned, as most of you all know, I've been concerned for years and years and years that the economy would slow down or stop. Sooner or later, you're right. And I notice that our revenue growth has appeared to plateau. I continue to be concerned about it. I continue to be concerned about what's going to happen in the economy. I continue to be concerned about the growth of online sales, which reduces, as you know, our sales tax income. Fortunately, we have a robust reserve. This reserve has been built up carefully, tediously, painfully over an extended number of years. And I hope we don't have to draw on it to maintain basic services for the people of the city of Mobile. But I think we always need to be careful about dipping into that reserve if we don't have to, if we don't absolutely positively have to. But we $70 million of free reserves is a lot of money, but as Dirksen said, $1 billion here, $1 billion there. Sooner or later, you're talking about real money. So, thank you very much.
Well, I would say too that this year we did put almost $50 million into projects that came from the surplus, and I think that's a pretty sizable amount. And so really between what we made, what we lost, and then what we put in the surplus, that's how we ended up with a surplus almost the same as it was at the beginning of the year. So I think it's good to wisely use it, but at the same time, we're all on the finance side anyway a little bit interested. I mean, in keeping it so we've got some
We just got to be careful that the reserve doesn't burn a hole in our pockets, and that that we're careful about utilizing it, which I know you. I know you are. But I like to remind everybody else of that from time to time.
Okay, well, thank you. Really, just a couple things you might want to be interested in. You might be interested in interest rates. These are all things that can affect us this year. Interest rates, they went up another 0.75% to almost 4% last month. We're expecting another one in December, maybe 0.5%. They're the highest they've been since 2008. Inflation, that's something the Fed continues to work on, so I think they're going to continue to look at interest rates, so that's something we have to keep in mind. Mortgage rates are at 7% for 30 years. This is a good one. GDP was up 2.6% in the third quarter, which is a significant improvement over the first and the second, which was negative. And I thought that you might be interested in this one. Unemployment in Mobile, in October, we were at 3.4% for unemployment. In July, we were at 4.1%. In September of 21, we were at 24.1%. In September of 20, we were at 8.6%. So actually, if you look over a line, a trend, we were significantly better than over the last 2 years. So that's encouraging.
Mr. President.
Mr. Penn.
Thank you, Bob, for coming down and giving a lot of great information. You said that you already have the numbers for October. You don't have to get into it, but based on that information, or we're looking like we're going to be over our what we allocated for the budget?
Based on what I've seen so far, it looks like we will be better than I expected, and that the spending level is going to be less than what I expected.
Okay.
But the revenues will probably be pretty similar to what we saw.
But it's better than what we planned. We expect or projected anyway.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm just saying that is I believe that you talked about it before, that we need to know what's going on, but then we also need to speak life and say that our economy is going to be great in the city of Mobile. We're going to continue to grow and we're going to make money. So the interesting thing, and I agree with Councilman Dave, is that we got to use the money wisely. I think it's very important to use the money wisely. And, one of the things that I had the opportunity to meet with some people from the administration, we did the Tomaville community planning, one of the first, the neighborhood toolkit. And we got some data from it, and it was so interesting that a lot of times we think that people want a lot of big things, but we had the opportunity to hear what the people actually wanted, and it wasn't stuff that cost a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think that's how you use the money wisely, by hearing what the people want. And of course, I believe we did utilize that, using $50 million to go towards different projects and still to have a surplus of $75 million. Thank you. That was a great job for the administration, what they have done. But at the same time, I do think, like Dave stated, we got to use it wisely and listen to the people. So thank you to the administration. Thank you for the hard work that you all are doing to put us in a position to have these type of funds and not surplus. But it was just interesting seeing that amount, because I was like, okay, that doesn't cost a lot, just hearing what the people want. So thank you, Bob.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Mr. President, just
Mr. Jones.
one comment. I agree with everything that my colleagues have said wholeheartedly. And Bob, again, I appreciate you and what your team have done and presented to us. Such a professional organization and putting together data that absolutely helps us dive in and look at the health of the city from a financial perspective. One thing I would be remiss if I didn't say, we talk about a surplus. And I've said this before, I just want to make sure that I keep this at the forefront of the discussion. About $15 million of that surplus over the last 3 years came out of public works salaries that folks were not there. And that's $15 million worth of work into this city in the public works area that didn't get done. So while, yes, we are building up a revenue because of the salaries not being there that we've had to pay, we are also seeing a backlog of projects that also are not getting done because we don't have that labor force. I'll be looking closely as we close out this first quarter at what those public works numbers are. Because as I've been saying the entire time, we need to look and make sure that we are getting after the work that's got to be done. And we're reinvesting that savings back into the area where it came from. And it's absolutely critical in some areas that we do that. So appreciate everything that you're doing and continue to do for the city. Thanks, Bob.
And other council members? Thank you so much, Mr. Madam Clerk.
Adoption of the agenda.
Second.
Been properly moved and second and in discussion.
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Carroll.
During the mayor's presentation to the council, I was a little loud over in the corner trying to get something done in a hurry that came as a surprise. My ears are still a little messed up with the unbalance and pressure from the trip to Tampa, so let me apologize again to the mayor. I didn't realize I was talking so loud when I was trying to get the council attorney. Thank you.
Understand. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda's adopted.
Public hearings. Today is a public hearing to consider approval of a certificate of public convenience and necessity to Mobile Pedal Tours to operate an electric motor-assisted pedal vehicle.
This open up the public hearing for this particular said item. If anyone present that would like to address the council, you may do so by coming down to the podium by stating your name and your address.
Hello, my name is John Serta. I'm here for the pedal trolley. I've been a business owner in downtown.
Can I get your address?
Oh, I'm sorry, 3770 Rabbit Creek Court.
Thank you.
I've been a business owner in downtown Mobile since 2008 with the opening of Serta's Coffee Company. And I thought that was a bad year. And then I'm the former owner of Serta Brewing at 600 Government Street also, which is the Oyster City Brewing now. We had a pedal trolley that started out of the brewery when I owned it. And as a business owner, I loved it because it brought in so many customers, new customers and, existing customers. And surprisingly, a lot of people that have not even been to downtown Mobile. So I'd like to start one of these things. I think business owners really like them because they do bring in new customers downtown. And people like them because it's a fun, safe, and unique way to get out and enjoy downtown Mobile and explore new restaurants and bars. So I hope you consider this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone else who would like to address the council on this particular said item? If not,
They ain't called the house yet. They haven't yet. They haven't called it yet.
this public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to declare the structures at 1205 Noble C. Beasley, formerly known as Pritchard Avenue, and 2010 Tucker Street, public nuisances and ordering them demolished.
Is anyone that's present who would like to address the council on these particular said items? You may do so by coming down to the podium, stating your name and your address.
How you doing again? Russell Tatum, 2010 Tucker Street. All right, I'm calling. I'm here
Speaker, come a little bit closer to the mic. Thank you.
All right, you hear me? Okay. All right, I'm here today to ask for extension on the property because the work is kind of extensive what I have to do, and I have to go to the permit office to try to get my permit, but I have to go through a flood evaluation certificate, and I need like maybe a 60-day extension because of the holidays, and I don't know if if the poly flood evaluation certificate gonna be able to be in place before the 6th. So I'm just asking for a 60-day extension to get all my paperwork and everything together to finish up the property.
Mr. Ken?
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Russell, for coming down. Thank you for everything that you're doing, investing back in our community. David's going to come in and give us an update with their property.
Good morning. I just want to say that, yes, 60 days would be acceptable. We just want to keep in mind our time limit of a total of 120 days. But, yes, I agree that we have a gentleman, a property owner that wants to repair the structure. And, again, it is in a flood zone, which takes a little bit more time to get that flood certificate before they can get the permit. So, yes, we're definitely in favor of getting the permit and moving forward with renovations.
Okay, thank you. Can you give me that address one more time?
2010 Tucker.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Is anyone else present that would like to address the council on these particular said items? If not, these public hearings are closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Darlene Martin.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Darlene Martin, and I live at 2411 Cross Street in the Africatown community. I am here today for a follow-up on my Lead One, Teach One program. I pray all of you had an opportunity to look over the flyer I provided for you. Since I was before you, I have been working diligently to keep this worthwhile program alive. I have been writing a few grants, which are currently pending. We're selling candy, of which you guys have a sample in front of you. Our group was also selected as one of Mobile Parks and Rec's programmatic partners for 2023, which will provide our group with a safe and secure meeting place. We will resume our training January 2023. I would like to reiterate that the beauty of this program is to empower our young people to act in a positive manner, to encourage them to engage with their peers in a comprehensive, sustainable manner. And this program also allows parents and children to collaborate on a common goal. Lastly, their final task will be to engage another young person in their age group and teach them what they've learned. I am trying to foster a real sense of community inside of a village, which has sustained me my entire life. This may not be the ultimate solution, but I still believe it is a pilot program for a real and sustainable change and to the growing problem that we have in our communities. That's why I am continuing to reach out to my community leaders to help support my efforts. I have plans to address this issue with local businesses, educational entities, and other community agencies. What is happening daily on a negative note is all of our problems. I am unknown to some of you and to the average business person. I pray that all of you think this is a worthwhile program and agree to support us with a monetary donation of your discretion, as well as by forwarding this information to other organizations you are involved in and local businesses you deal with, other agencies that respect you, and ask them to donate. These are all of our children. With this being said, on Giving Tuesday, I would hope this is something that you would like to give toward. All I know, the time to act is now. Anything that you do will be greatly appreciated. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Mr. President?
Mr. Penn and Mr. Carroll.
Mr. Moore, where are you located when you do your programs? Is it in a certain
Right
area?
now, since before I was just getting space in churches and businesses that would loan me their places, but now that I'm a part of the programmatic program with Mobile Parks and Rec, they have me at the James Seal Community Center.
Okay.
Mr. Carroll?
Yeah, Mr. President, I'm aware that that Ms. Baker is now Ms. Martin. I'm sorry, Darlene Baker Martin. I'm sorry, is now working out of the James Seals Community Center. I'm also aware that she's instrumentally involved in the campground area also, and also involved in her own neighborhood, which is Africatown in Plateau, right there at Cross Street. Her family, Mr. Ike Dinkins, and her sisters have been very involved in the community for an extremely long time. I think it would be prudent if we could give some sort of financial aid to help her get this started when it's affecting our youth. I'm very invested in Africatown, and I think that we should have a figurehead out there pushing whatever we're going to push in Africatown so that we can get united behind somebody. But we have to start somewhere, and you're going to start hearing me say a lot that somehow the city has to provide a figurehead for everybody to fall in line behind, or somebody has to rise out there that's going to get us all on the same page so we can get some things accomplished. What is your financial ask because we all don't have a lot of money. We're only governed by so much money per year. What
Well,
are
the
you asking?
last time I told you guys my figure, I think I turned you all off a little bit. But right now, I have 10 girls, 10 boys now. But once that program comes out for the Parks and Recs, I'm going to have a flood of children coming. I'm not turning anybody away. And as I told you guys before, I pay them $10 an hour to train. And at the end of the day, they have to train somebody else. So if we can engage them, any money you give is what I'm going to give back to them. So I'd rather not give you a figure. The last figure I gave you in order to sustain them throughout the year, engage them in all the programs that I have set up. I told you guys $37,000. It turned you off. So guess what? The money that I have is the money that I'll shell out. If you give me $500, you know how many times I can give that to the children. You see what I'm saying? What you give is what I'm going to give back to them. So what I train them, one of the biggest programs that I have coming up is I'm going to teach them how to database. Database seems to be a big thing now. If you guys want to keep in touch with your constituents, my children can type their names up and you guys can send birthday cards and all that stuff. I'm just trying to engage them. I'd love for you guys to come and talk to them about the role that you guys have, because they're going to need to do that as well.
Okay.
Ms. Carrington, if you would, get with Pavonia, and she'll get with Courtney. I'll be glad to give you a small donation from my discretionary account for this year's funding, especially with you being involved with Mobile Parks and Recreation. She'll tell you how to write the request properly on letterhead with the right signatures. But let's make sure that in order for me to do that, the program also has to have some grounding and some information. I think we changed some of that this year as far as requirements for insurance. I think general liability, workman's comp, all those kinds of things. You're going to need that. But if you would, please get with her, and I'll be glad to make a small donation this year to your program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Madam Clerk.
John Kozlinski.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you all. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. Councilman, my mother passed away at 80 years old on October 3rd, and so my condolences to your grandmother. And part of the reason I'm here
Could I get your name and your address, please?
John Kozlinski, address is 1710 Old Canal Road. The purpose of me coming today is to talk about homelessness. About a month and a half ago, I've been involved in homelessness for about 35 years. Like many of those who are involved in homelessness, it can be frustrating at times. And I have been kind of away for it for the last number of years. But upon my mother's passing, I was on my way to the airport, and I ended up, one of my Facebook friends, and I'm sure you're all aware of a gentleman by the name of Eric Bump Overstreet, who's volunteering to be homeless for 90 days. I went to visit him underneath the bridge and decided that after meeting with him that when I got back to Mobile, that I was going to become involved. I have a building that's in Mobile, and upon coming back, Eric wanted me to meet with Dale Pfeiffer of Driftwood Housing, and they asked me to do an emergency shelter. It was supposed to be 30-some degrees. My building at the moment didn't have power or didn't have water on, but we agreed to do it because we didn't want to see people in the cold. What was remarkable is the first day was kind of difficult. There was people who were involved in alcohol. They were intoxicated. But we just loved on him. We just loved on him for the first couple of days. And what we found is after a period of about 3 or 4 days, there was a radical difference in their entire attitude and they did not want to leave. In that time, and I'm going to be brief because I know I only have 3 minutes, in that time period, in the last 30 days, we've gotten over 110 people off the streets. Okay, we've got 12 people living temporarily in our building. We've got over 15 in hotels, including 9 children between 3 and 8. We've already housed 14 people in drug and alcohol rehab programs. We've got people living in volunteers' homes that are there. The men that are with us, you would not be able to know that they were even homeless. We just did a Thanksgiving dinner. We had over 130 people who were homeless. We had over 200 volunteers. It has been a radical difference between those that, when they got there to where they're leaving. So we're not here to ask for anything. I'm not here to complain whatsoever. I just want to let you know there's some amazing things that are happening, and God is moving mightily. How we were able to accomplish this with no money, strictly through volunteers, feeding them, loving on them, caring for them, it was just, you would be shocked. I can guarantee you that you would not know the difference between the men that we've had that have been there for a few weeks. You would not know that they were homeless. And I just want to say, I just want you to encourage. I know that some of in any city, homelessness is an issue. I want to give you guys some encouragement that there is some great things that are happening here in Mobile. We are expanding greatly. We're seeking funding through some private individuals and as well as some corporations. And I just want to let you know, get ready, because God is on the move.
I appreciate you and, all the hard work. I mean, did not know exactly what you was coming down here for today, but that's some good news. And I'll tell you how God does work and everything.
Amen.
Again, appreciate your services.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for that report, and it indeed is a positive. I actually just got an email from a gentleman that owns a number of businesses, and they're having issues with homeless individuals that are having issues bothering clients, et cetera, disturbing property at night, littering, et cetera.
Yes.
And we're going to have to deal with that. But, one thing that I think we really need, and I've said this, gosh, almost a year ago when I first got into this position, we've got a lot of entities, non-governmental organizations, nonprofits that do this, but we're not collaborating.
Yes.
And, it's funny, I talked to one entity and they say, well, we are the answer. And I talked to another entity and they say, we are the answer. And I hear from others and they say, well, we're the answer. The reality is, if we're not collaborating these collectively and underneath an entire umbrella and getting the efficiencies and putting folks on paths and utilizing the resources from all of these together, then we're missing an opportunity to provide the help they need. For instance, we just got out of a pre-council meeting, and a large part of the discussion was the jobs that we have available for unskilled labor in the city.
We can help you with that.
There's opportunities right there. And we've got to figure out how we can collaborate.
I can tell you this, that's one of our priorities. We don't see ourselves just as an emergency shelter. We see ourselves as there are a lot of resources that are available, but there's just no way for these individuals who maybe just need a helping hand or a helping up, because we've had many of those. But we see ourselves as standing in the gap. We don't have any ego. We don't seek any credit. We don't seek anything. We've got over 200 volunteers who will go pick up individuals that are on the street, bring them to the central location. What I will say is that I think the critical key is that you have to get them off the street for 4 days before even trying to deal with the issue. If you try to solve that problem when they're dealing with alcohol or drugs, and most people are dealing with that because they're wounded, they don't know, they're disappointed, they don't know how to get out of their current situation. When we were able to get them off the street for 4 days, and they were clear-minded, almost exclusively every one of them wanted to go to work, so we can absolutely help with there. And then we're going to build a coalition of non-governmental agencies. We're going to, part of the building that I have an 8,000 square foot warehouse, we're going to have post office boxes, because one of the big problems of being homeless is you have nowhere to get mail. You have nowhere to get an ID. A lot of them don't have IDs. A lot of them don't have the ability to go to work because they don't have IDs. We're going to provide opportunities for showers, for charging their phones, which is real big, but also to be able to begin networking. And we've done that in 30 days.
Yeah, we appreciate you so much and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you again
All
for
right.
your hard
God
work.
bless you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Madam Clerk.
Eric Overstreet.
It's Mr. Overstreet, President. Madam Clerk.
Adrian Edwards.
Good morning.
Morning.
Adrian Edwards, MVPs, 2654 Serigny Court, Mobile 36605. Good morning, council members, Mayor Stimson, Executive Director Batiste, and everyone else. The first time I came to a city council meeting, in my mind, I was invited by District 2 Councilman William Carroll. He was on Congress Street speaking to a group of citizens that included many homeless individuals. He insisted that we flood the city council meeting the following Tuesday to support and speak out against the ordinance that would fine or jail homeless individuals for sleeping on public property and, from my understanding, private property as well. I was ecstatic when the ordinance was tabled, but disappointed that there's not much help for a population that's growing by the day. I recently worked for a shelter that claimed to be in the helping business, but just like other institutions, they set families up for failure. It's not everything they claim to be, with inadequate training and lack of housing, but I guess it's better than nothing. I worked there making $9 an hour, and when my lease was up, I was a prayer away from being homeless myself. Thank you, Lord, for seeing my help fight for the city. I had to lie on my housing application by adding my mother because my income was too low. People have a misconception about the homeless population. Yes, there are addicts, but there are plenty of people who have just had a bad break, lost a job, lost a loved one, an accident, mental or physical illnesses. There are working homeless individuals. I have stayed at the temporary warehouse shelter that Mr. John spoke of, now called Port City Samaritan's Home, for the past 2 nights, and I have seen a group of homeless men so grateful and willing to help out in any way they can. I'm seeing firsthand that with the proper care, compassion, and resources, this issue can be curbed. I'm asking that you all consider coming up with an ordinance or two that would actually help the homeless community. Maybe opening up recreation centers when the temperatures drop below a certain degrees, or how about providing designated areas where they can pitch their tents? And if you really want to be considerate, have a facility where they can shower, like I just heard the mayor of Pensacola is doing, but that may be too much. Thanks for your time. See y'all next week. Have a blessed day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards, for coming down. I'm going to ask the administration if they can just tell us some things that we are doing and everything for the homeless. I think some of the things that you have mentioned, the city is already doing.
Okay.
But thank you so much for coming down.
Okay, we're just trying to make sure we see it come to fruition. Thank you all. Have a blessed day.
Thank you.
So, Mr. President, you were asking about overall. So most of the comprehensive services are coordinated by Derek Bulware from Housing First. He's here to speak to any of the issues with dealing with homelessness or Housing First that you might have.
But the city is on top of it. That's what I'm trying to just.
Oh, in coordination, we do very, very hands-on approach, especially going forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Mr. Carroll.
Thank you. I don't have a problem with trying to find a space in this city where the homeless can either pitch a tent or gather, or having a safe spot where they can gather. I am not for criminalizing homeless for being poor, because a lot of us are always or could be one check away from being homeless, or in a position where your mortgages are threatened and you don't know what to do. So I am so in favor of that. I'm also aware of the continuum of care of Housing First, and let me congratulate y'all on y'all's new $5 million award to help homeless and to help with billings and things like that. That was a tremendous help for you guys, but it'll also be a tremendous help for the city. So I'm all for it. I've got, and some people are going to just go crazy when I say this, but there are some places in District 2 that we can use to help resolve this problem. And some of my neighbors may jump up and scream bloody murder, but there are some places that are not in high density areas where we can help resolve this. We just need some type of financial help to get this started and get it under the way. The other thing about collaboration between agencies, last year, Gina and myself attended a meeting where we asked that the United Way start helping us to lead this charge and collaboration between agencies. And I think that's a must so that we can provide the most or the highest level of service to all of our homeless in the city. But as I've told y'all my story with my family, I am definitely not in favor of criminalizing anybody because they don't have somewhere to stay.
Okay. Madam Clerk.
Reverend Byron Jackson. Dr. Raul Richardson.
Good morning. Dr. Raul Richardson, 2754 Morvilla Drive. I'm here today representing a leadership position I've accepted with the Mobile Area Interfaith Conference. For those of you that don't know, the Mobile Area Interfaith Conference, otherwise known as MAIC, is a collaboration of faith-based organizations and religious congregations on a mission to encourage development of community resources to address unmet human needs with a focus serving marginalized citizens. Now, that's a lot of words. I've provided for all of you, including the mayor, a package of a program that we have coming up, which is a primary fundraiser that's going to be housed right here in Government Plaza's atrium on December the 8th. I did not know the agenda was going to be so packed with conversations about homelessness, nor did I expect that I'd see my friends from Housing First in the building. I'm grateful for them being here, because they do provide vital resources for which we are obviously participants in. For those of you that don't know, Mobile Area Interfaith Conference is the provider of the only chaplaincy in a jail. Unfortunately, right now, a lot of that activity is being housed or directed towards COVID-related litigation and hearings within the court system. But nevertheless, it provides a mechanism by which people of all faiths can come together and receive an opportunity to perhaps find redirection, which is a grateful thing. I'm also not aware of, perhaps some of you may not be aware of, what the difference between a jail and a prison is. And I think it's a very important distinction, because we operate within the context of this United States of America that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Presently, we have a space of about 1,200 people at the Metro Jail, for which there are almost 1,500 people currently occupying that space. Each month, 1,000 people come out, but 1,200 people come in. And the nature of prison as compared to jail is this: the folks that are in jail have not yet been convicted of a crime. And some of those individuals may be there for 6 months, a year, and because we have a no bail bond program, those things are really, really kind of a stressful component. But what the Mobile Area Interfaith Conference does is we provide not only the chaplaincy, we also, by virtue of our Neighbor Center, provide housing for those citizens seeking to re-enter the community. We also, by virtue of our academy program for career development, provide training, education, resume writing, and a connectivity to potential employers that are interested in providing jobs for that segment of the population. Most recently, we did a prison reentry simulation for the Mobile County U.S. Attorney's Office, as well as the Montgomery County Attorney's Office, so that people can get an understanding of what it's like to be a person receiving reentering the community from prison. We also provided a destination reentry event at the Innovation Portal to connect employers with what are the incentives, tax-wise benefits, that they can take advantage of by hiring these particular people to come back in the community and provide the jobs that are needed. So we are very committed to it, but most importantly, I'm grateful for your time, and I would like to encourage all of you to join us here in the atrium at Government Plaza on December the 8th.
Thank you.
Celebrate with us.
Right. Thank you so much. Mr. Days.
President. Thank you, Dr. Richardson, for being here today. I assume you're making the same presentation to the County Commission.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Good.
I was here yesterday, actually.
Okay, great. I know that, I'm sorry Mr. Woods has left because I know that a number of years ago, through changes in the municipal courts, one of the objectives of those changes was to reduce the number of city prisoners in the jail. And I was just wondering what the city's census was compared to the county census. I know it changes from day to day, but I wonder if we could get a hold of those numbers, Chief or Captain Snowden. Thank you.
When you're referring to the census, Councilman Davies, you're talking about the number of people actually in the Metro jail? Yeah, I certainly can provide you those numbers as well.
What I'm interested in is how many of them are city and how many of them are county.
Yeah, I can't answer that. I'm certain I can by the time I go to Metro today. I'll be meeting with Paul Birch and Trey Oliver, so I'll ask that question.
And other council members. Yeah. Thank you so much, Doctor.
You bet.
Kenneth Hughes.
Good morning. Kenneth Hughes, 61 St. Joseph Street. I am the owner of Medevac Ambulance Service. As y'all are aware, we are still pending the certificate of conveyance for the city of Mobile. And this vote is now in January. The need is great. We are continuously receiving calls for folks that cannot get to doctor's office because they are bedbound and an ambulance is the only one way that they can be taken. And they're being told by every service in Mobile, no, we can't do that. We are getting called daily for folks that need to go home from the hospital. Sorry, we can't help you there either. We are getting called daily for folks that are needing to go between two hospitals, and it's becoming urgent. Last night, there were 2 strokes that were sitting in beds multiple hours. They called both services. One of them they called 5 times. The other one they called 3 times. They called 911. They finally called a helicopter to take someone between one point in the city of Mobile and another. Every day. Every day this is happening. Unfortunately, there's a lot of money involved. The big ambulance services, they got a lot to lose. We're here to help. We can help. All we need is permission. It's getting bad enough that last week, the CEO of one of the hospitals called the fire chief himself. We need this. We need this now. Y'all won't help us. They won't help us. No one will help us. And the city fire chief, one of them said, well, fine then, as long as they don't bill for the service. Okay. You got a $1 billion company, but the family-owned company, they'll come and do it for free. We went and did it. And they can write me a ticket. They can do whatever they need. But these folks need help. And they need it now. Every other county, every other city, everything has a outlet. If Monroe County calls and says, our ambulances are gone, can you come help us? We can come and help you. It's not mean that we operate in Monroe County. We don't. But we can go and help them. The city of Mobile does not allow this. And it needs to. If it's not us, find somebody. You don't trust us? Great. Acadian Ambulance Service is a great organization. Y'all should reach out to them. But right now, people are laying in beds, suffering. And it has nothing to do with COVID. It has to do with greed. That's what it is. That's really all I've got.
Let me ask you a question. And I understand that you said that people waiting in beds. And the last time I checked, numerous ambulance services, they were short of employees. So how many employees do you have that's just waiting to go to work? I mean, just asking.
I had 36 applications that I can't hire because I don't have the business
That you
from
can't hire? I'm
EMTs.
sorry, that you said that you can't hire?
I've got 86 employees that, I'm sorry, 36 EMTs that are waiting on a list. I've got 7 advanced EMTs. I've got 4 paramedics. I had 2 ambulances sitting in Baldwin County yesterday while Lifeguard Ambulance, the big corporate ambulance, took all of their ambulances from Mobile and sent them to Baldwin County because there's more money over there. So my 2 ambulances, they did 2 calls. Wow, and then they sat for the rest of the day.
But my question is again, how many employees do you have
That could start in Mobile today?
that you got currently hired? You know,
They're currently employed 20,
and you said that you have how many that's waiting?
another 50.
But my question is that if
Why won't they hire them?
why one particular ambulance service is stretched thin, and you all have so many, you know.
It's about utilization. The dirty deal that has happened is that basically Newman's and AMR have set up where AMR does Mobile Infirmary and takes the rest of their assets and sends them to Baldwin County because there's more money over there. Last night when these 2 calls came in, I went and I found the AMR ambulances sitting in front of Baldwin County hospitals. It's just sitting there because there's more money over there. And Newman's is stretched thin because if you're a paramedic, if you're an EMT, and you're running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can only do that for so long before you just quit. The folks that want to work for us, most of them are out of the field. They won't get back on an ambulance with the current providers. They are not going to do it. I wouldn't go back and do it.
All right. Any other questions from the council?
Mr. President?
Mr. Jones?
Yeah, this is really to the administration. There were some numbers of calls that weren't made or picked up between hospitals. I know we're going to have this in front of us in a couple of weeks. If we could get some type of data on calls that are not made, that are not been exercised, that have been made, that would be beneficial when we get ready to vote on this thing in a couple of weeks.
We'll be prepared to have the data for it. Just for point of reference, in the last 30 days, from the point that we asked you to table this, the BLS call data visualization chart shows that there has been an increase in service provided by both ambulance services that we currently have under contract here in the city of Mobile. And so they're all performing currently over the last 30 days at the 90 percentile, which is required by them. So I think that the data sheets will show that there may be anomalies where there may not be a call for service, but I will look into that, have that information available for you at the next meeting, and I'll also make sure that you'll have the data to look at how we're performing overall.
All right. Another question from this council? Thank you so much, sir.
Fred Wheeler.
My name is Fred Wheeler, of Secretary of West Mobile Annexation Committee. Live at 8405 Sterling Drive, Mobile, Alabama, 36695. Mr. Mayor, Council President Small, and council members, I come before you today to acknowledge the work that you're doing towards developing an annexation plan and commend you for your methods in doing so. The past attempt 4 years ago was said to be rushed, lacking information. The administration then was chided by the citizens, various groups, even some council members, as lacking transparency in the process. Fast forward to the current effort, and there appears to be a spirit of cooperation and understanding that is going forward in the development of a plan. Consideration of concerns both within the current corporate limits and those outside in the police jurisdiction are being incorporated into developing a plan, which is really what you're doing, a plan for public dissemination. When I worked in the corporate world, we had a similar approach in that the manager would ask the department leads to develop a plan with a small team of individuals and experts from departments, and was never done with the over 400 employees employed on the site. The teams would assemble the plan at an appropriate time, tell those employed at the site what the plan was for additional input. Government officials rarely hear from citizens agreeing with them publicly. So I'm here to say thank you for taking the time to do your due diligence, to determine costs, to determine resources, to determine needs. The decision to allow a referendum is one that will impact the city and the county for years to come, and one that shouldn't be done haphazardly. In closing, the Bible says this about leadership. Philippians 2, verse 3 and 4, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourselves. Each of you should look not only for your own interests, but also the interests of others. So publicly, I would like to say thank you for taking your time. There are greater things ahead.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Thank you so much.
Yvette Young.
Good morning.
Morning.
To the council chair, council members, Mayor Stimson, the administration, city employees, and residents of Mobile. My name is Yvette Young, and I currently reside at 5448 Villa Trace, Hoover, Alabama. I'm here today to represent Revitalize DIP. Revitalize DIP is a grassroots initiative formed on May 2018 and received nonprofit status February 2020. The primary objectives of Revitalize DIP are crime, blight, and litter. We believe should these objectives be properly addressed, commerce, quality of life, and population will follow. We will host our annual fundraiser Saturday, December 3rd at the Guffdale Promenade, located at South DIP and Guffdale Drive from 9 a.m. to 1 o'clock. The fundraiser is a classic car show and arts and crafts festival. We hope that you will join us Saturday as we continue to strive to improve the quality of life on DIP. In the short period of time we have made significant strides, primarily in litter abatement. Initially, recruiting volunteers to assist with litter cleanups were met with an extremely low turnout. For our 2021 cleanup, we asked for litter team leaders. The leaders recruited their team members and chose the area they wanted to clean up. Our spring 2021 litter cleanup resulted in 91 volunteers and the collection of more than 2,000 pounds of litter. As a result of collaborating with Keep Mobile Beautiful, Evelyn D'Angelo of Love Your Community advised we should enter the Love Your Community beautification campaign to earn money for beautification projects. Her exact words were, "You guys are already doing the work. Why not earn funds for it?" So this year we entered the contest and won $1,500 for beautification. We chose the CVS Pocket Park located on the right-of-way of Brewer Road and Clubhouse Road after collaborating with a local nursery, an irrigation specialist, and landscaper to beautify the area. We learned the water meter at this location is owned by CVS, of which any irrigation at this location would be an expense. So we're hoping you can help us navigate this hurdle. As a nonprofit, we do not have the funds to pay a water bill. Lastly, there's been an ongoing problem on the South DIP regarding edging. The right-of-ways are mowed but not edged, which greatly takes away from the aesthetics of the community. If the business owners are responsible, there are numerous owners in violation and should be cited. Proper landscaping and maintenance adds value to any community, regardless of the location. There are numerous resources in our district: the airport, Airbus, the waterfront, our location, and we will soon have Brooklyn by the Bay. Our community is poised to evolve economically and in population. We realize South DIP may not have the same tax bracket as other districts. However, we are all taxpayers. Thank you for your time and your service, and we hope to see you Saturday, and happy holidays.
Thank you so much, Ms. Young, for coming down. As you were speaking, I got several messages to my phone saying, who is this woman talking about? She's from Hoover, Alabama. I would like to say that, Ms. Young has been very involved in the South DIP community for the past maybe 6, 7 years, and she's the one who really founded, revitalized DIP. Ms. Young is almost like a Debbie Foster, but she really don't reside here. She was born off of DIP, and her parents still stay off of DIP, but she worked harder than any person just about in the DIP area. I wouldn't say to anybody for real. I'm just going to want to offend no one, but she takes time. We had a meeting a couple of days ago with one in the administration, and it was like, who is she? It's like, she's involved and she's very in details in, pushing the community forward. And if I want to have 10 residents, just 10 more residents that live here in District 3 that be involved and take pride in the community like you do, District 3, I know, will be the best district in the whole wide world. Again, I do appreciate you so much for, taking time out, coming to Mobile, being involved in the DIP area, and looking forward to seeing you on Saturday at the car show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Elizabeth Stevens.
Just wanted to say hello and say thank you for consideration of the DDD code today, the amended one that was the Carol Jones compromise, and thank you for all your work on this project. It's very important, part of our downtown, part of our city. So thank you.
Do you mind giving us your address?
Elizabeth Stevens. Well, she said my name. I guess that's why I didn't think about it. 261 Dolphin Street.
Thank you so much.
Reggie Hill.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Before I begin, like Mr. Kozlinski, I want to extend my condolences to Mr. Reynolds and his family. My prayers are with you during your time of bereavement. To the citizens and stakeholders of Mobile, still morning, good morning. Reggie Hill, 1007 Center Street. I rise today to address those matters, Chapter 3846 in the Mobile Municipal Code and the ARP resolution and surplus spending ordinance. I'm going to work backwards so that I can at least get the ARP and surplus portions in today. I'm going to start with the surplus and the importance of this ordinance and why it's needed. We heard this morning that our surplus revenues based on the tax, our surplus dollars based on tax revenues dropped. And also we have about $75 million that's left in the surplus spending, and we've already allocated about $50 million or so to projects that I don't believe have directly impacted the majority of our citizens' lives here. And so this is why an ordinance that would limit the spending on our surplus resources, which I believe the Finance Committee chairman would want to see done anyways, as we're sticklers of how much money we keep around. So this would probably be something that would be beneficial. As well, we should probably cater towards neighborhood development and housing initiatives that are going on. I'm hoping that we are going to have the Housing Authority leadership to come down and maybe give us an update on where these projects are going, but there's a lot that's happening. I think that surplus funding could be allocated towards those initiatives. Let's move to the ARP. We have not discussed about the $29 million that were left. We just heard Ms. Young come down and talk about the taxpayers. Well, I like to compare the idea that you can be a 5-year-old and buy a stick of gum, or you can be a millionaire, you can go on an amazing shopping spree. We are based on sales tax. So the same amount based on your bracket of resources is going to be contributed to the pot of money that we spend here in the city. And so that needs to be considered. As we're looking at the ARP spending coming forward, we need to increase the performance contracts. We just looked at the Lead One, Teach One with Ms. Martin, other organizations like Success for the Future, other organizations that are represented here. We claim we don't have the resources, but we have people who have data-proven solutions to fix the issues here, but we're not supporting them. So these are things we need to be looking at. I want to go right into Chapter 38 and Chapter 46. It's interesting, Dr. Richardson came out here talking about we're innocent until we're proven guilty. We know in the city of Mobile that's primarily not the case. And that's why Chapter 38 is necessary to be amended. You all have had this information for weeks. chapter 38 and 46. Some of this information you've had for nearly a year, and we've still not had any response. We haven't heard any potential committee meetings being called as to how we can actually discuss this, because you know it's brief when we come up here. It's only 180 seconds. You say get this information in by Thursday, but then we ask the questions, you don't have a response. And then we're only given 3 minutes to come up here and articulate what's actually going on. So maybe some of these issues should be given to a committee with the same attention that we're doing on these other projects that I don't believe to be major priorities for our people. Things that are not really needing the attention that we have right now. So we can focus on these things. So maybe we can have a public safety committee meeting. Maybe we can have a finance committee meeting and actually discuss how these issues that really contribute to the quality of life are not being met. Thank you for yielding the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Mr. President.
Mr. Carroll.
Mr. Hill just triggered something in my mind. Is it possible for the administration today or maybe by next week's council meeting to give us an update on how much of the $29 million we have under contract and how much of we have actually spent? Also, there was an additional $21 million that was granted to the city from ADECA to be used in housing also, and let us know what that plan is also and where we are. And I think it was CORE. I don't remember who has the contract for continued rehabilitation of housing after the storm for our area, but can you be prepared to update us on all that information so we know where we are in the city, what our plan is, and how our plan is marrying into the county and everywhere else, please.
Madam Clerk.
Jim Backus. Jim Backus is regarding the DDD.
Good morning. My name is Jim Backus at 509 Aslava Street, about a block from the Civic Center. I won't repeat the remarks I made at the public hearing last week when I was here representing Church Street East Historic District about our support for the Jones-Carroll amendments to the rezoning plan for the Civic Center. But I just want to reiterate once more that we believe that this is a step, first of all, for the Civic Center. It's not so much for the core building, although we know that's part of the plan, and we just reiterate our desire that the administration and the council proceed with diligence in executing this plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Marie Dyson regarding the DDD.
Good morning. Marie Dyson. I live at 203 South Dearborn Street, and that is the Church Street East Historic District. And I'm the president of the Neighborhood Association. I'm going to echo what Elizabeth has said, what Jim has said, because I know we keep showing up. We've been involved in discussions and plans about the Civic Center since we started talking about it in 2017. Farther back, we participated with the city, the council, the Downtown Mobile Alliance on the creation of the Downtown Development District and the form-based code that resulted from that. It works, it's consistent, and we believe in the consistency of that. Our neighbors are invested and involved in what happens in our neighborhood, which is the Civic Center Plaza area, the project, and everything that happens with downtown. We have been consistently before you with any plan, any discussion about what happens. We're residential, commercial, business organizations, churches, everything. And so we totally support the Jones-Carroll amendment. It's consistent. It keeps the form-based code. It works for all of us. It's a great compromise. It's a plan being created, and we totally support it. And we just want you to know that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ordinance is held over. 64060, ordinance to amend section 64.3.1 Downtown Development District of the current zoning ordinance, chapter 64 of the Mobile City Code, and amend Appendix A.
Motion to table.
Second. Been properly moving second in the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item table.
64063, ordinance to amend proposed amendments to section 64.3.1 Downtown Development District of the current zoning ordinance, chapter 64 of the Mobile City Code, and proposed amendment to Appendix A.
So moved.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President. I have an amendment to this. I have like to make a motion to amend this to add the language from the committee meeting to this as it stands to correct to include all the Transact District definitions, information, and use tables. The information has already been given to the clerk.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion on the amendment?
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Mr. Reynolds.
I have no idea what this amendment is.
This amendment.
It's like came up all of a sudden, and here we are today to vote on an amendment that I don't even know what it is. There's nothing been produced to me in writing. I haven't been provided an opportunity to read it. I don't know what I'm voting on. Neither does anybody else on this council.
The amendment is to correct a clerical error in the submission to the council. It is putting in everything that you've read today with no changes. There was a clerical error made in the information that is on the Nova system, and we're simply just correcting that information.
Well, I would ask that we have the opportunity to see what these clerical errors are. I mean, you know, there's been the sidebar discussions and this discussion here and there, and everybody's moving around and going in and out and, you know, coming up with some plan that I don't know what it is. So it's unfair, not just to me, but the citizens of the city to amend this thing at the 9th hour, and nobody knows what we're voting on. Clerical error or not, we put out a notice.
Mr. Woods, could you respond to Mr. Reynolds' question, please?
Yes, Mr. President. Let me give some clarity to what we're dealing with here. So what Mr. Carroll is referencing is the October 19th. If you'll remember, we had a committee meeting, and during that committee meeting, there were a number of changes that were talked about and echoed, and so that Bert Hoffman could go back and make those changes, you know, all of those included. So what we're doing is we've handed to the clerk those very changes because that needs to be not only part of this record, but we'll re-advertise it so that everybody knows that comports with the map. It's the exact same changes that came out on that October 19th. We've handed it to the clerk. We emailed it to the clerk. We can easily email it to all of you. You have seen it before. It's the October 19th changes that Mr. Carroll and Mr. Jones were talking about when we went through that meeting, that committee meeting back in October. And so what will happen is you all vote on that today. And the reason for that is because we have to stick to the timeline for the core. There are about 10 or 11 different variances, and I think Mr. Carroll's trying to keep us on that timeline, but also satisfy the constituents who are concerned about the Jones Carroll amendment. You know, it's a belt and suspenders approach, but it allows us to not only move forward today, but stay on the timeline that we need for the core and dealing with the variances, but still give the citizens the assurances that were made in that meeting back in October. So the written amendments that you're asking about are something. If you saw those October 19th amendments that Mr. Hoffman made at after that meeting, then you've seen them before. That's what's being added, and there was a great deal of confusion about which version we were going to put forward today, only because the October 19th didn't have to be attached to the agenda. Mr. Carroll's attaching it because that's the same thing we're going to advertise.
I recall after that committee meeting closed its business, and then at the very next council meeting, there was a discussion both in pre-council and I believe on the floor here about what notice was going to go out. Okay, and then a notice went out, and you know, now the public's had an opportunity to read it, and now it's my understanding that what was actually voted on and that notice that went out has changed. So that means we have to re-advertise.
Mr. President.
And I'm not sure what, when I say yay or nay today, because again, this just came up, like literally just now. I don't know what I'm casting my vote for. And to refer back to a committee meeting, which is essentially just a business meeting where all broad subjects are discussed within, for this particular issue, there's no finalized anything that comes out of this. I mean, we could talk about anything in those. So I'm just confused on what. Maybe somebody could produce a copy to me.
Yeah. So,
and show me what changes from the original that was advertised to now. But to call for the question, having not seen it, is out of order.
As Mr. Reynolds reviewing that right quick, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, this is what we've all seen. It's what we've reviewed. It's the language. It's the usage tables. It's the identifications, the T codes, with the populous plan laid over the the Civic Center area. So we have seen it, and we've discussed it, we've debated it, and we agreed to move forward with it. And that's what's on the agenda item before us.
Any other discussion on this amendment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed.
6-1, going back to original as amended.
So moved.
And properly moving second in discussion. Favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed.
Passed 6-1. Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 64064, rezone property located on the south side of Dolphin Street, 520 feet east of Sage Avenue, extending to the west side of Sage Avenue, extending to the west termini of Exeter Drive and Sherwood Drive south from LB2 and R3 to R3.
So moved.
Second.
And properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed.
64065, rezone property located at 2819 Government Boulevard from R1 and B2 to B2.
So moved.
Second.
And properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed.
64066, rezone property located at 1263 Baker Street from R2 and I2 to I2.
Move to layover for 1 week.
Second.
And properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item laid over for 1 week.
Resolutions held over. 08-1027, approved purchase order to Donahue Chevrolet for Chevrolet Tahoe. 08-1028, approved purchase order to Tyler Technologies for annual continuing education services. 21-1029, authorized contract with Melvin Pierce Painting for exterior renovations at the History Museum of Mobile. 60-1030 and 1031 are authorizing settlement agreements and release of claims. 60-1034, adopt the master plan Civic Center site by Populous 2022.
So moved.
Second.
And properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes.
Consent resolutions being introduced 37-1035 through 03-1062.
Move to waive the rules for immediate consideration of these resolutions.
Second.
And properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Rules waived.
37-1035, recommend approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a special retail more than 30 days license to Holiday Inn downtown on Government Street. 40-1036-1037 are declaring the structures at 1205 Noble Beasley Avenue and 2010 Tucker Street public nuisances and ordering them demolished. 58-1038, 1039, 1040 are declaring Wees Noxious Group 1637, 1638, and 1635. 60-1041, approval award a special bonus to the Finance Department Employee of the Month. 60-1042, 1043, and 1044 are determining appropriations to CC's Classic Catering, LLC, Smith Memorial AME Church, and United Methodist Intercity Mission of Mobile, Inc., serve a public purpose and approve payment. 03-1062, approve and confirm the appointments of Abe Harper Jr. and Kelly McGriff to the Mobile Airport Authority.
So moved.
Madam Clerk, move to approve all but 40-1037. We need to call it out separately.
I'm sorry, which one?
40-1037.
Oh.
Tucker Street.
Oh, okay, okay.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item pass.
40-1037, declare the structure at 2010 Tucker Street a public nuisance and order it demolished.
Move on laid for 60 days.
Second.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item laid over for 60 days.
Resolutions being introduced, 01-1045 through 37-1060.
For council rules, these will lay over for 1 week.
Call for public hearings, 41-1061, call for public hearing to consider approval of a certificate of public convenience and necessity to the Southwest chapter of the Alabama Coalition of Citizens with Disabilities to operate a shuttle service scheduled December 13th.
Second.
And properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public hearing is called.
Announcements.
District 4, Councilman Reynolds.
No announcements.
District 1, Councilman Penn.
Thank you, Mr. President. This past 2 weeks has been really amazing. We started with Pennsgiving. We gave 1,000 grocery boxes away in District 1. And then this past weekend, we had the Tomoville LaFleur Alumni Community Parade, great turnout. And then we had Pennsgiving right after, fed over 300 people, great time in our community. So I want to thank you big thanks to all the residents. I want to thank the Mobile Police Department as well as the Public Service Department. I want to thank Courtney for coming down and volunteering during the holiday times. We had a great time for Pennsgiving. It's going to be bigger and better next year. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Penn. District 6, Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to say congratulations to the Jags who won their 10th game of the year. They had a record year, going to a bowl game after that, so congratulations to that organization. Want to remind everybody of the Christmas luncheon at the Connie Hudson Center, December the 14th from 11 to 1. And then today at 1 p.m., we'll have a Public Service Committee meeting here in the auditorium regarding mental health. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. District 2, Councilman Carroll.
No announcements, Mr. President, but I would like to say again, thank you to everyone that was involved in helping to find this compromise with the Civic Center. I look forward to moving forward with it. Again, there are some concerns about spending $200 million and whether or not we're going to be capable of spending $200 million at this point in time. We are obligated to spending $25 million in respect to the Corps of Engineers building, and we still know that we still have yet a few opportunities there that we have to look at as council. So to everyone that's been involved with this, Church Street East, Down the Bay, the Mardi Gras Associations, the Downtown Mobile Alliance, and my colleague Scott, who listened a lot and helped come to a point where he was like, yes, we really need a compromise there. Also, the back of the napkin master plan that we keep talking about, which was given to us by Populous. We know that we're going to have to expand that. And with the onset of what we may be looking at the additional acreage to the east of the Civic Center, we know we need a solid master plan there. What I'm seeing in Birmingham and what I saw in Tampa, I think we really have an opportunity here with a very strong master plan to really do something very special for our city. Thank you, Mr. President.
Carroll, I believe that was an announcement. Thank you, Mr. Carroll.
Yes, sir.
District 5, Councilman Days.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are some things I never thought I would see in my lifetime, and agreement on the Civic Center site was one of those things I never thought I would see in my lifetime. And I want to commend Councilman Carroll and Councilman Jones, the administration, all the stakeholder groups for coming together on a common vision that will set us down the road to doing something there on a permanent basis. Really a remarkable achievement on the part of all parties. Congratulations and kudos to y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dave. District 7 Vice President Gregory.
Yeah, I too want to thank everyone for the collaboration on this property. Elizabeth, thank you so much for all of your leadership. Your wealth of knowledge is just unsurpassed, so thank you. To William and Scott for coming together to work on this, and of course all of the neighbors and the administration. We cannot leave you guys out because, you know, we can't do anything without you, so thank you very much. It will be good to see something happening on that property, and we all look forward to working on it. In District 7, I have my annual Christmas meeting coming up next Monday. It will be at 6 o'clock at the Mobile Museum of Art, so that is Monday, December 5th. If your postcards have not arrived, hopefully they will by today, and there will be a list of items that are needed by the residents at Wilmer Hall. We always collect items for the residents there, so you will have a list of needs, and please be sure to bring those with you. The Forest Hill Elementary School Chorus will be there to provide entertainment, and of course we will have plenty of great food and fellowship. And speaking of the museum, we just wanted to make sure that you all know that the Museum of Art has been awarded a re-accreditation from the American Alliance of Museums, and that is the highest national recognition that is afforded to the nation's museums. So that is a true achievement for our museum, and it just shows the terrific leadership that we've had out there, the board of directors, the city leadership, and of course Deborah Velders, who unfortunately for all of us in the city is retiring. But just kudos to her and all of the staff and everyone who has been a part of that. That is certainly great for the city of Mobile. I think that is it. I had some notes. Oh, one other thing, talking Christmas, of course. December 17th, I am happy to sponsor a ham giveaway that we'll be working with the members of Smith Memorial AME Church in Hillsdale. It is on Fellhorn Drive. It will be December 17th, beginning at 8 o'clock, so come on out. Hopefully everyone will be able to get the ham that they need, and be sure to be able to feed their families at Christmas. And that is all from December for us for District 7.
Thank you, Vice President Gregory. And to the citizens of District 3, just a reminder, as Ms. Young came down earlier, that this coming Saturday from 9 o'clock until 1 o'clock p.m., 9 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m., we'll be at the second annual Revitalized Festival on DIP. Again, it was also will be having a car show and plenty of food and fun out there this coming Saturday, inviting all the citizens, not just the South DIP area, but really throughout the city to come on out to see what's in store down there in the DIP area. Again, that's going to be this coming Saturday from 9 a.m. until 1 o'clock p.m. This is, again, it's just the second year. Last year was plenty of fun. It went beyond everybody's expectation, what they was expecting. So I'm imagining that this coming Saturday will be the same. And I believe that we're expecting some good weather this coming Saturday. Also, mark your calendars for on Tuesday, December 13th at 6 o'clock p.m., we will have our holiday reception, which will be held at the Mayoral Elementary School. We will be collecting items for for several elderly people that's in our districts, especially in the nursing home, inviting the community to come out. And there will be plenty of food, fun, and entertainment. And also the parades of threes, which will be on Saturday, December 17th at 2 o'clock p.m., starting at BC Rain High School and will end at Pillars Middle School, expecting a nice crowd on that particular Saturday. Is there anything else from this council?
One alibi. Today is Captain Joe Snowden's birthday. So happy birthday, Captain Snowden.
Anything from the administration?
Motion to adjourn.
Properly moving second in a discussion.